All right, this is Brian. Brian is from the, is this your company name?
Game Studios.
Sea Dog Game Studios. Now these guys, I mean, my new subscribers, go back and look at my old Gen Cons. You will repeatedly see this terrain over and over again, and every year it blows me away. And this is brought to us by Brian. Now we just went over sail power with Ed. Brian is going to talk to us about, I believe it's called Tech
Commander.
Tech Commander. Okay. Let's see. We'll talk about the sales part afterwards, because you can actually buy these guys. These are super cool figs. Actually, let's start off with your figures, because your figures are absolutely beautiful.
All right, so these are fully articulated 28mm mecha figures, and what you'll notice about them is they are pegged together. That means that the figures can be posed.
Nice.
And that also means that if I want to change weapons, I can just change weapons.
Oh, cool. So everybody on the same side with the same color, it's all going to look correct.
Right. So you build your army painted in whatever colors you want your team to be. You have a side box of weapons. The mission changes. You don't have to change miniatures. You don't have to have the same miniature 4 times to have
for every different weapons loadout.
The missile. You just swap them on the fly. And,
awesome.
We've built a rule system to be very compatible to that concept, so there's not a lot of doing paperwork in the rule system.
That's a tiny rule book.
It's
awesome.
meant to be flip open.
Very gamer friendly. Nice.
You have free weight and free power. All right, so that's what that unit has. We come back here. We've got different kinds of guns. Like
wow, they even
hammer.
show you it. Nice.
You look over here. The hammer weighs 6 and has a power of 10. As long as I'm not going over what my unit can carry, it can carry that gun.
Nice.
So there's not a lot of, okay, where do I locate things like that. It's very fast build.
Nice.
And it's also equally destructive. And being you guys are into terrain, destructive weapons are something a lot of war games tend to miss. You tend to think of the idea that, you know, I have a miniature, I'm taking a lot of damage, and then you're getting hit with swarms of missiles, and somehow you're still standing. We wanted to have real-world lethal weapons. So there's a 105mm howitzer here. Beautiful. That does 80 damage at a time. That could easily take and one-shot this thing to death.
Wow, okay.
So the environment is interactive as well. So
let's get some of this cool stuff in here, guys.
We have
nice.
a vehicle here. This vehicle's fairly small. I'm not sure that I can hit it very well. Well, if I have my vehicle able to hit this spot on the wall here, and it's within the splash radius, this is an easier target for me.
Because it's kind of like an area effect weapon. Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
So I shoot the very easy to hit that target, and this guy gets killed by collateral damage. A couple ways that might happen. Could be splash. Some weapons have a splash automatically, like a missile. When it hits, it's got an explosive effect. I could also just kill the building. If I'm doing enough damage to the building to actually drop it, when the building collapses, there's an area effect, and this will take damage from that as well.
Now I notice these even have interior elements to them.
Yes, these are built of foam core.
One of our favorite building materials.
And we hope to make a set of this out of resin someday, and maybe even with some cubicles so we get some CQB action.
Nice.
I have this crazy idea that I'd like to do a fight from the top of a skyscraper on down.
Nice.
And just kind of go floor by floor, and you fight off all the bad guys, and you never know what's in there until you open the floor.
Beautiful.
As you come down the elevator and bust open the door, oh, there's terrorists behind the desk.
Sure.
Right.
Or a guy in a power suit.
So we let the players use the environment very heavily. So like if a guy's up here on the roof, somebody have to indirect him. That might damage the roof.
Sure.
If the roof takes enough damage, the roof might collapse and be gone. That might damage the floor below it.
And then you just work your way down. Now, do you actually have rules for infantry?
Floor? Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
This game is set in the sci-fi future.
Okay.
It has a lot of mecha units, but it also has infantry in it. And the difference between a lot of mecha games and this one is that I believe that technology will keep pace with other technology. So
sure, so they're not the kings of the battlefield necessarily, as they are in other game systems.
Very useful pool on the battlefield if you have infantry.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have different tools to survive. So infantry in this game is kind of a little bit of Halo, a little bit of Iron Man.
Nice.
You know, they're very flexible. They have a capacitive shield system where they have to have their shield overwhelmed to kill them.
Okay.
They have jump jets so they can agilely move around the environment. They also have
like anti-vehicle weapons, possibly.
Yes, they do. They have
nice.
They have not only anti-vehicle weapons, but they can work Bluetooth-style cloud computing and coordinate as a group. So the whole squad will key onto what the commander locks onto, hit the target together, hit the weak spot, and blow it up. If you have a lot of infantry, they just hit like a Mack truck, like one, but then they also have the flexibility to split up and go on individual missions, which is something a big guy like this can't do.
Outstanding. Man. So how long has this been around?
Tech Commander was created in 2008. I was hesitant after creating Sail Power to build a sci-fi game because there's so many out there.
There are a lot.
There are a lot. And the question was, could I do anything unique with our game? And so we took as many ideas of what might be unique gameplay and put it in one package, and that's Tech Commander. So the customizable weapons is part of that. We also have a couple different ways you can play this game. The concept being that your traditional war game is a skirmish. It's force versus force, you know, side one, side two. You don't have to play this game that way. You can actually also play it as what we call a death match.
Nice.
It's kind of very much like a video game on a tabletop. We have numbered spawns that we place around the environment. You could come in at any one of those. So now attacks aren't just hitting you from the front, they could be hitting you from any direction. And suddenly, if there's 12 players out there, you're not going to be able to pick a safe spot.
Right.
You're going to be choosing your battles. It's like, who do I want to die to, and who do I want to kill?
There you go.
Make the best of a bad situation on the battlefield.
Like my wife killing me yesterday.
Yes. We, in the fluff of the Tech Commander universe, it's called Tech Commander because in the future, war is fought pretty much by remote. I mean, we're already doing that today.
Yes.
We fought the Gulf Wars from trailers in Florida.
Right.
I think going forward, it's going to go holographic and be on a table. So that looks like a gaming miniature table.
It does. It does.
You know, in the future, we'll be using gestures. Well, we have tape measures.
Right.
A little bit of an analog to that digital, but the idea is you're a commander somewhere running atop over the battlefield. A death match is kind of a high-pressure way of training an officer. We give them as many high-pressure decisions to make in a short period of time as possible. That gets them ready for the real fight when it's played for keeps.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out there. Are you thinking of coming up with possibly linked scenarios where you can gain XP, get better weapons, that kind of thing?
We haven't done a campaign yet. We have a lot of fluff. I'm actually just finishing up a first novel for this universe.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So there's a lot of story and a lot of depth, and it's also a very mercenary-friendly environment. I think gamers like to customize. So I don't want to tell you, you have to play these 3 factions. I'll have a couple factions in there that you can play, but this universe is the Wild West in space in that the government really can't be everywhere. So a lot of times you're hiring mercenaries to do the job, and that mercenary company can be whatever you envision it to be. If you want it bright purple, more power to you. You want to paint like your favorite sports team, do it.
All right, I'm going to throw another curveball at you. I'm assuming this is all humans. Am I correct? Or are you thinking about possibly bringing in some alien technology / troopers / because when I was looking at this, I'm an unabashed old Starship Troopers fan, and boy, in Starship Troopers they needed something like that stomping around the field. And I would love to see a battle with a bunch of those trying to run through a city and those things doing what they do best. I think that would be a really cool scenario. That's just off the top of my head. Is there an idea for that?
Today we have a mysterious force who's kind of come in and invaded, and nobody knows who they are. But they
Ooh.
operate in large quad units that are larger than average, and they run very large mass driver type cannons that take out buildings in single hits, and nobody knows who they are.
So you're already there.
I don't know if we want to go the alien direction or not. The player base might dictate that a little bit.
Sure, sure.
I also love the idea of machines gone wrong.
Oh, really? That's cool. That's cool. Well, with everything being remote, I guess Iran actually hacked into one of our drones and made it crash. So it's happened already as well there too.
Well, I actually have one. I did mention there are a few major factions in the game. One of them is called the Syndicate. If you can imagine what happens if Sony gets in bed with the Yakuza and the Triad and
cool.
one big corporate crime family,
right?
That's pretty much it.
Beautiful.
Nobody can prove that they've been at many of these crime scenes, but most of the revolutions seem to have their type of technology there.
That's cool. Now, you made some terrain recently that applies to pretty much any kind of standard army or futuristic army. Why don't you give me a quick lowdown on what are these called exactly?
Well, I call them Jersey barriers. I recently was told that in California they're called K-rails.
Okay.
I'm not from the West Coast, so I'll take everybody's word for that. The idea of these guys is these are the standard things you find on the highway. You find them brought in by truck whenever there's a big show or something and they want to stop things. The military tends to use them whenever they make a
hardcover
a position around an embassy or anything like that. And of course in sci-fi they're great things to hide behind.
Yes, they are.
We decided that there were plenty of the standard 40K length ones out there. Real ones tend to be a little longer, so we made some longer ones.
And tell me about this bad boy. So you got actually two different designs here, right?
Yeah, this one here basically is your more chipped up late war. This is the nice pretty one for before the campaign starts.
Before the campaign starts, right.
They're the same length, so obviously if you wanted to, you could switch them out in the battle. If your rules have some kind of allotment for taking concussion damage, you might take more damage from this war. Maybe it's in a degraded state.
Sure, sure.
We also miter cut these. This is something that is done quite often. These are made to fit particular environments, so we wanted to give a lot of modular pieces to build whatever you want.
Yeah, so you can follow, say, roads or things
you'll
along
notice
those.
we have a curve here.
So any irregular shaped building, you could make these to fit to stand around them to begin with. And I think we were also saying something about basing and non-basing, and I know we both had experience with both of them. So I think you were saying also that you're going to go with some that have a basing line and some that don't?
Certainly. When we first cast these, the community that we discussed this with was very much that all terrain should have a base.
Okay.
There's a whole camp of people that's part of it, and the reason for that, from what I understand, is that obviously your figure has a base.
Okay, sure.
So the idea is that gives it that little height to make it equivalent to your figure. But on the other hand, I've been told, well, you know, Brian, I want to put your Jersey barrier up on the roof, and that just looks a little silly.
Sure, sure.
So
and there's both camps are there's no right or wrong answer here.
Sure. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this. This is a production mold at this point where we have all these different cuts, and we'll just have big tubs of them. We'll have them available for order, custom. We're going to go back and do these same ones basically without the base.
Got it. Got it.
Rerun that so that if you want to put it on your existing roads that you already have, or if you have the freeway overpasses.
Yeah,
and things
you don't have
like
to worry
that.
about it having a green grass edging and it's going on the top of it. I'm going to take a quick peek at some of your other figures here because these are absolutely lovely. This is one of the smaller guys. Love your multiple rocket pods. That is really slick. And then I think you've got another small guy over there if you want to grab him.
For sure.
You've got a lot of different weapons loadouts, and they got a really unique look to them. They're absolutely beautiful. Yeah, these are really nice. And like I said, every year I come through the door, and well, you've seen how many people are stacked around these tables when I come in. They're always full. They're absolutely beautiful. And these are resin as well, correct?
These are all cast resin, and they are held together with dowels. We use oak because they are not very spongy and they don't wear out as fast.
No, oak does not wear out.
Other woods. If you're going to peg anything together, oak is a killer way to do it.
Very much so.
So the great thing about this is, obviously, we can change our weapons on the fly. They're all interchangeable. Actually, in this case, I pulled the peg out of the wrong side, but you can see they just kind of fit right in there.
Sure, sure.
So one miniature can be a lot of different things. You're not necessarily as limited as you would be with a traditional miniature.
When you purchase the figure, does it come with all the different weapon loadouts?
Well,
or are those expansions?
What we did originally is we originally tried to give all of the rides a couple different weapons, and then we had some that had like massive customizers kits, 17 different types of weapons.
Oh yeah, if you have 17, right.
Well, the problem with that is we quickly found out that the players had a lot of the weapons they needed already.
Okay.
And they would just like to have these units at a little bit lower cost without all the extra
all the extra weapons. So you're very flexible as a company. That's really nice.
We're a small manufacturer. We make all this ourselves. It's not coming from China. It's built right in Ohio. We are currently looking to get it to where we have a pretty much a la carte weapons order where you can order a pair.
Nice.
And you just order what you need.
Sure,
now, obviously, the cost on that to the consumer is a little higher than if you get a big grab bag because there's more handling as far as our people and making sure we have to have them in stock. But our players are telling us that they may only want 3 or 4 for a particular unit, and they may already have it. So that, in the end, I believe it saves the player money because they'll end up getting the weapons they like. Their friends, the community has so far been very kind of hot rod swap meet when they get together to deathmatch. So everybody will take their war boxes and open them up and set them on a side table. And if you're not using your tank and somebody wants to try it, you let them try it out, and then maybe they want their own tank.
There you go.
We very much encourage community sharing of miniatures, and the weapons is a big part of that because maybe you don't have your own set of missiles and you want to try out missiles. You only have rifles. You borrow some from your friends, see how you like it.
Sure, sure. Closing statements. What direction do you want to be? I said that entirely horrible. Where do you see yourself in, say, 3 to 5 years? If you get the kind of growth you're looking for, what kind of expansions, what kind of direction do you want to go in?
We believe the Midwest is a great place to grow a game company and a game studio. And we want to diversify what we offer. We want to make things directly for the gamer. And we just want to grow the social community aspect of gaming. We try very hard to make games that are not only big and presentable, but a lot of fun to play. We work away from the traditional lots of record keeping and paperwork and try to get you into the action with your miniatures. And when you can sit and interact with your miniature like this and do line of sight directly off the gun instead of saying, yep, well, it's from the center dot of my base.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yes.
That's something that we enjoy. This tank, you can see the...
Nice. Fully articulated.
You want to see if that barrel can hit it. We don't have to say, well, it's 10 degrees up, that's all it can do. I can tell you what this can hit, but now you can get creative. You guys like terrain? I can only hit up. Well, guess what? Now I can hit the roof.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Because this terrain is interactive, and that's what we're going for. We want the terrain to be part of the battle. One of the things I got early on people come into the game, they're like, why do you have so much terrain on your battlefield? This is because it's not a prop. It's part of the battle.
It is, yeah, totally.
If you get into the community of video games and you see some of these levels that are like a railway car, train yard, and there's just train cars everywhere. A miniatures battle, you don't see that very often because that's in the way, you know?
Right, exactly.
To me, a train car's in my way. I have a 105mm howitzer. Let's remove that train car. No more train car.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's something in the real world, you have to deal with that.
Right.
The environment is very much part of the battle, and terrain should be part of that too.
And I totally agree with you, and I want to thank you, Brian, so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Sorry it's taken a while for me to get around, but like I said, I thought you were like me, a guy just out of his basement having fun. I had no idea your company, and
We are out of our basement,
so still there.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
But we are a company as well, so check us out. This game is techcommandergame.com.
And this is where you need to go.
And our other game is sailpowergame.com. And
All
we
right.
are on Facebook. We have a Twitter feed as well. Twitter feed is growing, so bear with us as we put more content on it. But we try to keep up with it as fast as we can between the 13 shows that we do. So check us out online, like us, friend us. Also, if you like going to shows and you like running games like this, we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for players.
You're awesome, Brian. Thank you so much, sir.